that are eligible for the program are too scared to apply, or just, you have to sort of walk them through. You have to tell them a little bit how it works. You have to gain their trust. You have to earn their respect. But we're seeing a lot of hope and promise in that program. We're looking at how that type of partnership can be expanded, whether there are other faith-based organizations in the room or even community partners here that have that capacity. So, it's a way of, especially when you have an online application, it's a way of providing information, just how to better gather your documents, how to answer questions. It's pretty cumbersome to apply, not just in Arizona, in any state. It's an intimidating process. But I think that those types of partnerships, they've always been critical, but, in a climate where there is, such a high urgency, when there's a lot of confusion, and understandably so, about immigration issues, and a lot of concern and a lot of fear, it's one direct way that we can, until the bigger picture in terms of national policy and perhaps national legislation can be enacted, it's an immediate way that all of you and all of us can get together to really help people in need. Yes?
Yes, ma'am. My name is David Schwacke. First of all, I want to thank you very, very much for coming down and talking to us today.
Of course.
And I would invite you back in a year, because if the level of interest that I see in this room today stays as high as I think it's going to, I don't believe we'll be last place next year. Okay. My question to you is, over the last 2 years, we've seen a tremendous number of families coming to the summer feeding program. We charge the $1 for breakfast and the $2 for lunch and dinner. I've already had families stopping me as I'm at the grocery store, church, and things like saying, that $2 is going to be a real barrier for us to come this year. But it does my heart good to see the whole family come. We have grandma, grandpa, all the way down to the grandkids showing up. So you might want to take something back and see if in this reauthorization an exception could be made, or something could do to waive that, or at least, I don't know what you're going to do, but I don't know where you're going to find the money to do it. But we think it's a program that really hits home to a lot of these families that don't have the money to last to the end of the month for the food. So anyway, that's my comment.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Actually, there was an article that just came out, it was a week or 10 days ago, from the Associated Press. And if you haven't seen it, please look for it. It's easily available online. But a New York reporter, talked about how much it cost, how much money is available for an average family of 4 to feed themselves on SNAP. And it's about $68 a month. $60 a week, sorry. And he decided, I thought this was really innovative, he decided to create a food stamp challenge by approaching executive chefs, fancy schmancy gourmet chefs in New York City. And he said, SNAP, you told them about the SNAP program, told them how it works, told them the average benefit that a family of 4 would receive, and challenged them, said, how would you're the executive chef with all this expertise, how would you handle this challenge of feeding a family healthy, safe, nutritious food? Well, the article is really interesting. And within the first week, all of these chefs were just so sombered by how hard it is, how expensive food has become just in the last few years, how difficult it is to shop, and also plan and budget meals. And it's an effort that can easily become a part-time job. And the answer was that, unfortunately, none of them were really able to do it. And the one that got the closest to that had to spend an additional $20. He had to spend about $85 to get to, it wasn't that he couldn't buy food. He could buy food, but again, it's not just about getting that benefit to the household, but getting healthy, safe, nutritious food to the table. So, it really begs the question that if you have people with that expertise and time just looking at how to feed those families, how can an average family afford to do it? So I really appreciate that comment, David, and it's something that we're closely analyzing and thinking about for the next Farm Bill. And the First Lady in the Let's Move campaign, again, I encourage you to look at the website. It's constantly being updated with information. But, one way of approaching this that I think is really inspiring because it's fun is the White House has asked chefs to come and visit and participate and share ideas. And, even if you can't, not everybody can just get up and go to Washington, but, how are you going to meet that challenge locally? I'll give you another example. I recently visited a school district that decided, again, making it fun. There's a pattern here. You have to make it fun, especially for kids. They decided to copy the Iron Chef show. All of you have watched Iron Chef. And they created a junior Iron Chef competition, and the challenge was that kids, middle school and high school, had to create a simple recipe that was affordable, that could be replicated for a school meal, and it had to, taste good. That was very important, but it had to look good, had to be easy to prepare, and also it had to use a certain number of local ingredients. And I was so honored they asked me to be a judge. I mean, geez, talk about fun on the job. So there were about 40 teams of kids there. It was incredible. And they were just adorable. Each one of them had their chef hat and their chef jacket and matching outfits, and each one had a name, some had songs. I mean, they were just going nuts. They were having so much fun, but at the same time they were learning so much about health and nutrition, and they had winners and they had prizes, but it was so clear that everyone in that room was really impacted. So it's one way of making children and families more aware of how to better budget, how to shop, how to consume, and how to actually make ends meet at such a tough time when food is so expensive around the country. So that's one idea. Yes? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. I'm sorry. It's kind of dark on this side. I apologize. Hi, how are you?
No problem. Thank you. I'm Sandra Foss. I'm with the Department of Education here in Arizona. We operate the National School Lunch and Breakfast programs, after-school programs, and the Summer Food Service program. And we have been working actively, quite crazily actually, for the demonstration project. Because those monies would be critical to us this year. We are actually working last fall because we were aware that we were in 51st place behind Guam in our numbers of children who access the Summer Food Service program. But we had already determined that the activity was a critical component and had used state agency money to determine this information, and we're planning to try to figure out how we could provide school districts and partner sponsors with resources for activities, only in the process to learn about the demonstration project. And so we did apply. We were one of 10 states invited, so we're anxiously awaiting news that would be critical information to us, because in the process of learning and training for the Summer Food program this month of March, we were learning that there were many school districts who would possibly either not even be offering the Summer Food program or who would be sponsoring fewer sites because of our state budget crisis and the schools not able to have the summer programs. So part of the key monies in the demonstration project was a request to use the resources to provide lease money or rent money for us to be able to operate programs where partnerships are not available. And so I would just appeal more than anything that as soon as those determinations can be made, we would love to know.
Oh, I bet. Dennis, do you know if we have a deadline, if we're going to announce that anytime soon? I'm not aware. Yeah, I don't know what the timeline is, but no, I mean, obviously I understand the anxiety. And how many school districts are in the room today? How many people let me rephrase that. How many organizations are thinking about maybe instituting a summer feeding program but don't know enough about it or trying to learn more about it? How many of you guys are here today? Okay. So I think that you guys need to connect, for sure, and talk about ways. And again, Winslow is going to just say, my God, why does she keep pointing us out? But, you've got a great table of experts right there, so I encourage the folks over here to talk, and I encourage you to talk over that. And, again, we have the webinar, we have other information on our website about how to get support to go through those administrative challenges. So I definitely appreciate the hardship you're seeing now with the state budget cuts. It's really hard. It's so hard to